Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to my Fallout 4 Mod Spotlight series, where today we're having a look at yet another wonderful mod, this time in the form of Campsite, which is being made by user Fading Signal, which is looking to add into the game a lovely selection of equipment and supplies to allow you to build your own campsite anywhere out there in the wasteland that you desire, which may sound very similar to the Camping Supplies mod, which we did have a look at a couple of weeks ago, and frankly, yes, they are very, very similar mods, but quite frankly, this campsite mod has set the bar higher by adding in additional camping equipment and really, really awesome new features that just, it put it in a league of its own, and I just absolutely love it. So let's take a look at how all it works now with pretty much every deployable mod out there. You use the chemistry station to build the desirable deployables, and you'll find in here a new camping gear category, which if we click that, brings you into this lovely list of all of the great camping kit parts that we can build. Now we'll just start up here at the top and work our way down. Now the first we have is the cloth wall, which is quite a cool little feature. You can use it to, well, build a wall around your campsite to give you a little bit of extra protection, and pretty easy to build at 4 cloth and 2 steel. Now the next is the cooking pot, which, just like in the camping supplies mod, is a usable cooking pot that makes a cooking station out there at your campsite, which is pretty awesome. And unlike the camping supplies mod though, this actually requires a fire, which you can build using the fire kit. And I actually really like this idea. It was something about the camping supplies mod that I said was a little odd, that there wasn't a fire to go with our cooking pot. Well, now in this particular mod, you need it, and that just makes me happy. And these fires will also go out after 4 hours, and you have to then use another fire kit to basically rekindle the flame on the fire that you've built, which is quite cool. But easy to build though, it's just cloth, oil, and wood. The cooking pot, of course, copper and steel, I forgot to mention. The next is a very cool, unique item, the dog bed, which dog meat can actually use. He will sleep in the bed while you also sleep at your campsite, and apparently the modder has even added into the game a dog snoring sound, which just makes me smile. Now the next thing we have is a folding chair, and well, it's a chair being made with aluminum and plastic, and you can sit on it and wait. The next is actually I'm going to skip this. I'll go over this one last because this is, I think, the most unique item. So we'll go to the lantern next, and it is a lantern. You can use it to produce light, and it requires aluminum, glass, and oil. And what's cool is that this lantern can either be planted on the ground or can actually be attached to tents, so you can actually hook it onto the specific tents, which we can build down here. Now the first tent we have is just a crappy little makeshift tent, which is a branch with a tarp over it, and it requires cloth, leather, and steel. The next is a much more proper pole tent, requiring a lot more cloth, some leather, and steel, and then a pole tent with 2 beds already built inside of it for cloth, leather, and steel. And finally, we have our sleeping bag, which is just a sleeping bag you can lay out on the ground and use to, of course, sleep. Now, let's go back to this GPS beacon. Now, you've got a lot of really fun, awesome pieces of camping equipment here, from walls and tents, etc., where you can actually build up quite a substantial little campsite, which really makes this mod less useful if you use all of the various parts for just a disposable camp. Now, sure, you can just take the sleeping bag with you and plop it on the ground wherever you need to sleep, but thanks to this GPS beacon, you can actually plant a map waypoint on your Pip-Boy map to always know where your camp is. And that's just awesome. This camping kit GPS beacon will place a little signal on your map so that it's for your particular campsite. So you can actually create semi-permanent campsites out in the world and use this beacon to, find them. And that is just awesome, especially because you do have things like cloth walls and the tents, etc. You can actually build a substantial little camp and always be able to return to it, and that just makes me happy. Now, as for the styling of these tents, Right now, all of these bits of camping equipment all have a white or tan coloring to them, which is a little bit boring and, quite frankly, a little sad because, well, the camping supplies mod was quite similar. This particular mod, though, has a remedy for that. If you are in Sanctuary and go down to this root cellar, you will actually find a fun little book down here, which sits right here on this bed and is the Camping Kit Adventures in Camping.
Nice.
If we take that, we can now build all of those same pieces of camping equipment, but in different colors, and even in camo prints. So if we actually head back up here. Now, the idea of putting it into the book is that it makes it so you don't clutter your different UIs, so if you don't really care about color differences, you don't need to grab the book and you'll be fine. But now with this coloring in here, you'll notice we have all these different coloring options, which makes this particular menu a heck of a lot bigger. So if you don't care about style of your camp, you can ignore the book and have a much tidier menu. But if you do want to have, say, camo cloth walls instead of the typical cloth walls, well, you can go and do that. Let's actually just make one of those anyways to show off, because I have already built all of these different things, but just by the basic coloring. And so yes, that just helps keep the menus a little bit cleaner, but of course takes away that option of fun styling. So let's actually go over to our usual building area and deploy these. Actually, you know what? I've had some people talking on the comments that me building these deployable mods within the settlement makes them think that I can only build it in the settlement. So let's actually open the workshop mode here. Actually, I think I'm already outside the workshop mode. There we go. So let's make sure we are outside of this, and let's build it outside of where we should be able to. So this is a deployable mod. So let's find a nice little flat bit of ground right here, should do perfectly. And where you'll find all of these bits of camping equipment is under inventory and your miscellaneous tab, which is a bit different from a lot of other deployable mods that tend to use them as grenades and weapons. And you just scroll down and we have the camping kit category here, which you'll see starts with our book and then our cloth wall, etc. And all you gotta do is just stand wherever you want to. So let's build a little wall over here, and in front of you, this will deploy if we drop it. There we go. Excellent. And that's what you have to do. I always forget that it's actually hitting R to drop. I always click whenever I want to drop anything, which is a little annoying, but oh well, there we go. So whenever you want to drop something, you just basically stand where you roughly want it. Oop, didn't mean to get my gun out there. And then go into your Pip-Boy and hit R. And there we go, we have the desert camo one out as well, a lovely little wall. It'll take some doing to get things in the position you want, but eventually you'll be able to get things in the right position, and there are some options for these things. As you can see, we have the cloth wall, which we can activate. Now we can pick it back up so we can rebuild our camp somewhere else, but you'll also notice we do have a move and rotate option here, which are a little finicky. They're not as good as the build tools actually in a workshop area, but they give you a little bit more control. So if you drop one of these walls, for instance, but it's not quite where you want it, you can hit move and then use a direction. So you want it to go slightly more left. Let's do that. It's gone slightly more to the left, or moving up, down, left, right, etc. It's not the best controls in the world, and it can be quite finicky because sometimes it's difficult to tell what is left, right, etc. for that particular item. For instance, we hit move left, but it seemed to move back, as you can see. So you just kind of gotta figure out where exactly it should be moving to, so it might take a little bit of work. We also do have the rotate on here as well, which we can tilt forward, back, or left or right. And it's, again, a little bit finicky, but after a little bit of working, you should be able to get it all sorted. So let's actually reset that and hit done. Beautiful. But yeah, that is useful for actually doing a little fine-tuning, but personally, I just tend to pick it up and then place it back down again. Now let's build ourselves one of our tents over here. Let's build the crappy little tent, the makeshift tent. Oh, I always click. There we go, R. Excellent. And we have that now on the ground. Like I said, very crappy little thing, but we can sleep in it, so you just go to that and you can hit use. And again, we have all these different options, so of course we can pick it up, we can sleep, we can attach that lantern, which I mentioned earlier, or do the move or rotate. Let's actually attach the lantern. There we go, and it just hooks right on there and will produce a nice little bit of light. Now let's build ourselves another one of the tents here. Let's build the regular pole tent. Excellent. So it is a just small little tent that we cannot actually get into, which is sad, but it does... Dogmeat appears to be able to, though. But it does have one little sleeping bag right in there, which is quite handy. Now let's get out the other pole tent here with the 2 beds. And this one, if you have a human companion, you can actually get the human companion to go in here with you, because you do have the 2 beds, so you'll both will use one of these sleeping bags and have a lovely night in. Now, next, let's drop down our dog bed, actually. Let's put the dog bed over here. I think this will be a lovely little place for it, so R. There we go, and dog meat should be able to sleep on that. And also, here's another fun thing. We have a pet dog meat function. If dog meat's close enough, let's click it. Oh, he's not close enough. Dog meat, over here. Let's crouch down so he comes back over to us. Excellent. And then activate. Dog meat, there we go. He's close, so we can go and pet him. Though the camera angle has gone a little wonky. Yes, it's a lovely little feature. And, oh, see, he can get in there. Why? Oh, he actually went straight through it. I'm going to chalk that up to dog meat being magical, because he is, as you all know, a very magical animal. Now, actually, I haven't tried something yet. Let's do this. Let's command him. Can we tell him? Oh, I was hoping we could tell him to go to the dog bed here. Oh, well, what are you going to do? Let's do nothing there. Let's try again. Nope, just gets me the activate, unfortunately. I was hoping maybe we could tell him and make him go to the bed, but oh well, what are you gonna do? Now, next thing, let us bring the, what else do we have left? We, of course, have the cooking pot. Let's get the fire kit out first. So let's drop that on the ground. Lovely. Oh god, it's burning my feet. Excellent. And just like everything else, we can, do the move, rotate, but we have other additional options, one being to extinguish the fire. Now again, if you extinguish the fire, you're gonna have to use another fire kit to actually turn it back on. So you'd want to have a couple of these on you at all times. We can also relax, and we get some fun options here. We can just sit down, or we can warm hands and kneel, etc. And again, kind of a wonky camera angle, but that just might be the place I've chosen that's not quite as good as I was hoping. But oh well. Now, actually, I didn't notice that before. Let's actually go back to do that. I just saw something that I hadn't noticed previously while relaxing. Let's just sit down. See if the camera angle... Yes, the camera angle is still wonky for the animation. Good times. But now that we're back into first person, we can actually wait while we relax, which is quite good, so you don't necessarily need to build a chair now, and I can see through my arms. Bugs. Lovely. Alright, well... Now, besides the relaxing, of course... Oh, there we go. Got to go through the animation to get out. We also did have the place cooking pot, which is very handy because if you try and manually place the cooking pot, it could be problematic. But we can place the fire, it goes right next to it, and now we can actively use this cooking pot. And if the fire goes out, the cooking pot will no longer work, and it will tell you to relight the fire. So always a good thing to have multiples of those fire kits on hand. Let's, of course, also drop ourselves a folding chair. Lovely, we got that. Oh, it's that direction. Well, that's useful. We also, of course, have the just other sleeping bag, which we don't technically need because we have the tents, but there we go. We can sleep right next to dog meat. Lovely. And finally, let's place down that beacon. So let us get that. Excellent. We now have a campsite marker, which is permanently on the map, and as you can see, on our compass as well. So we can always find our campsite, which I just love that idea. And it'll have that permanent marker there, which is just great. Now, sadly, you can't fast travel to it. That would be cool if that could be added in the future. That would be quite awesome to have a custom marker that you could teleport to. So you could say, build your camp like right in the middle here, away from other things, and then, you know, just go right to it. But for now, it is just a here is where you left off your camp at, which is quite nice. I do enjoy it. And all in all, very good, well-built parts. I really do like all the models to these, especially these tents. It's quite cool to have all this in-game. Oh, and actually, let's use this makeshift tent and show you how the lantern looks on the other. So of course we can remove the lantern at any time, and if we pick back up the makeshift tent, the lantern will also go into our inventory. So if we get the, oh god, there we go, pole tent, attach lantern, it goes on the inside in there, which is very cool. And other than that, it'll just place on the ground, which I prefer it in the tents. I like it. It's quite nice. But yes, that is the campsite mod. I really love this thing. It really takes the idea that the camping supplies mod had and just really takes it to a whole nother level. You have the fire that has to stay lit. You have the cool walls, which you can set up for, you know, basic little defenses. You have a multitude of different tents and beds, and even a bed for the dog, all of which is quite cool. And even the ability to relax, the camping marker. I love it all. I love every bit of it. And actually, I want to go and sleep momentarily. I want to try and get the dog to sleep in his bed. So let's do that. Let's just use and sleep for just a singular hour. And let's see what the dog does. Oh, our frame dropped. Okay, but that is not the mod's fault. It's still that weird bug I'm having with the Automatron DLC. But yeah, I think this is a good place to end it, though, while I have to go and restart the game. But yes, this has been the Campsite mod, a simple wasteland camping mod, which just adds in so many wonderful things. So if you'd like to check it out for yourself, definitely go and do that. Link is in the description as always. But yes, that is going to be it for this episode today. I hope you all have enjoyed and that you do come back for the next, but until that time, thank you for watching, and as always, have a good one.